Hi, I'm John Ed Mathison, and welcome to Go Getters and Go Givers. This podcast is about people who are successful. People are go getters. They have the energy and the innovation to do important things, but they're also go givers. Because you see, we're not in the getting business, we're in the giving business. And I've got a person here today. I'm so excited to talk with her about this. Nobody fits that bill better than you do. Stacy, I love chicken salad chick sandwich. That was one of my favorite places, and I ate it all the time. And I would go with people, and I would pick out a different one all the time. And then all of a sudden, I discovered who you are. You are the chick, chicken salad chick, and your story is just so great. So I want to thank you for coming on board. I want to thank you because you now have been a highly successful person. I think you had somewhere in the neighborhood of 300 stores when you finally sold out, and now you're engaged with a new endeavor. You got a marvelous husband, King. Y'all have combined beautifully landscaping service and the best food that you can find most anywhere around right here at Botanic. And the thing I didn't know, here we are in the silo, and this is a perfect place to do a podcast.
To have a good chat.
You do. So thank you so much for doing this. And I'd like for you just to sort of tell us how you got started in the chicken salad chick business, because I've had more people tell me, hey, I love that restaurant. They had no idea I knew you. And sometimes I drop your name just to sort of acquire a little credibility. But tell us how you got started, and then we're going to talk about faith and how that's fit into your life. You're a great witness.
Well, thank you. And thank you so much for having me today. And I'm excited about chatting with you and getting down into things. And you ask me questions, I'm an open book, so I'm happy to answer. So how Chicken Salad Chick started years ago, some people think, or there's kind of a rumor out there that I was known for my chicken salad. Like if I went to an occasion that I would bring the chicken salad because I was known for having a good recipe, but that is not the case. I never
Hey,
made.
that's a good thing. Don't squelch that myth. Let it continue on right there. That'll be good.
Well, I never made chicken salad. I just ate a lot of it. And I ate it everywhere that it was offered. And so I felt like I was a connoisseur of chicken salad, which is so funny now to me because after we opened the restaurant, people would come up to me and say, listen, I'm a connoisseur of chicken salad. I'll let you know if your chicken salad is good, which is exactly what I would tell people when I went into restaurants. I would say, listen, I'm a connoisseur. I'll let you know if it's good. So when they would come to me and say that, I was like, yes, honey, I get it. I get it. Tell me what you think. But so life dealt some circumstances that were not a part of my plan. And as we know, things don't go according to our plan. But so the circumstances were I had 3 small children, and I was going through a divorce. And after that divorce, I needed to figure out how to support the kids. And I had been a stay-at-home mom up until that point. And as a child of a therapist, our mental stability is very important. So I didn't want the stability of the kids to go away with the separation of mom and dad. And so it was very important to me that I figured out how to support them and still be at home so that stability did not disappear. And so this was the criteria that I gave myself. What am I going to do to support the kids from home? And I knew I was a good cook, and I really love chicken salad. So I thought, if I value that, other people are going to value that. So let me give that a go. Let me just see if I can make an amazing recipe that people would pay for. And so in went with a science experiment, tried all different kinds of things, different tweaks on recipes, and got feedback from people in the community and friends and neighbors. Finally landed on a recipe that got the same reaction across a wide group of people. And it was a kind of stop in your tracks. This is good. And so I decided that was going to be the recipe. And I had already come up with the name, which was Chicken Salad Chick, because I wanted people. Now, this is back before social media, right? So the best marketing way at that point was to put a car magnet on my car. So I wanted the name of the business to be on this car magnet. And in the time it took you to drive past me or at a red light, you knew exactly what I did. It couldn't be something that was not specific. If it was Stacy's Catering, nobody would know that it was chicken salad. So Chicken Salad Chick was catchy. You would remember it, and I'm the chick that's going to bring it to you. So I put that on the car magnet, put my cell phone number right on the car magnet, and that's how I delivered around
So
the
you actually
neighborhood.
started delivering instead of just an open store. Now that
Yes, I was delivering door to door
Mhm.
in Grove Hill. And Grove Hill's a large neighborhood. So that's how I started out. And so the kids at that point were 2, 3, and 6. And so Carson, my oldest son, was going to Ogletree Elementary School. And I decided that the way to get, now before social media, the way to get the word out was to get it in the mouths of teachers and hairstylists,
Whoa.
because the teachers and hairstylists were connected to everybody in the community and they would talk. So I put a big bowl of Classic Carol, which is the original recipe, in the teacher's lounge at Ogletree Elementary School. And that took off, and put some business cards out. And so then they were calling, and I started doing deliveries to the school and then, in the neighborhood, and people were placing standing orders, and it really kind of took off fast, just the delivery. But it was just me at that point. And that was a lot for one person to do when the calls started coming in. So I found myself cooking, at 2:00 in the morning, and then I'd have to get up super early and, be with the kids, get Carson to school, put the kids in the car, deliver a fresh product. It was a lot to happen for just one person for those orders to take off. Well, then the health department called, and it is illegal to cook anything in your home and sell it. And so they let me know that, and they said that I had to shut down immediately. So that was not fun, and that was not a great day, because things were working and the phone was ringing off the hook and I had a good product. Now, I skipped over a part. When I was developing the recipe, I first started with what was the Classic Carol. That was going to be it. So there was no reason to name it Classic Carol. It was just, that was the chicken salad. But then I thought about my neighbor down the street. She was the very first trigger, Elizabeth. And I thought about her down the street, and she had told me that she liked her chicken salad with fruits and nuts. And I said, well, I'm going to make one for Elizabeth with fruits and nuts. And then I was like, now Julie across the street, she likes spicy stuff. I'm going to make one for her. Then here's one for Julie. And then that just evolved, and it just hit me like a ton of bricks. Well, the reason every restaurant serves a different recipe of chicken salad is because everybody likes it different ways. Just need to make one for everybody. And so at that point, I had reached out to my friend, Kevin Brown, for business advice, because I didn't know what I was doing. I had never run a business before, and I needed help. And he was a very business savvy person. So he consulted, and when I told him I was gonna make all these flavors, he said, "Well, you should, you gotta differentiate them somehow. You should, I don't know, give them some kinda, like, girly names." And that was like fireworks. I was like, "Oh my goodness. That is perfect. It's chicken salad chick, and now there's a theme." And so, not only am I gonna name them girly names, I'm gonna name them after people that I love to honor them, because anytime you get that opportunity, you should take it. And so, Nutty Nana is my mother. Fancy Nancy is my fanciest aunt. Sassy Scotty is my best friend since kindergarten. Jazzy Julie is my college roommate and best friend. I can go down the list. Kickin' Kaylin is my aunt. Rockin' Rita is my aunt. Classic Carol is my aunt. Fruity Fran is an aunt. And I did not know that when I named these recipes after people, that there were going to be hurt feelings.
You left somebody out.
Somebody out. But so then I was notified, of a few people that had hurt feelings. Then I had to do some changing around, but anyway, I did say, I've got lots of ways to make lots of different recipes where we can continue naming people and continuing to honor people. So that was a little side effect I wasn't aware of until after the fact, but everybody's been really great about it. And all the chicks now love to, they come in the door and claim their name.
Well, we had an opportunity to go to a thing honoring you as, I think, the best chicken salad maker anywhere in the world or somewhere, but it was a really fancy, big affair. And I remember I was amazed when you asked these people to stand up, and several of them were there, and to see them and to meet them. And I think they ranged in age from 18 to
82.
82. But that was amazing. I mean, that's real. It's everybody ought to realize that you're going to have trouble in life. Trouble's going to hit at some point, different kinds. When you hit trouble, you can either deny it, or you can go into a shell, or you can drop out, or you can be a go-getter. And that's what you were. And I hope people will learn that when going gets tough, the tough get going. And you started to do something, and to do it creatively. So go ahead.
Well, I'll tell you that my mother gave me the best advice I've ever heard. And I always use it. But she said, "Don't ever fear change. Depend on it. Just depend on life changing." And that means that when you are in a horrible point, that there's tragedy, that there's hurt, you have to know that there will be change. And so you're not going to stay that way forever. And then when you're in a good point in life, you don't take it for granted, because things are going to change. And so if you don't fear it and always know there's change, then you can take the ups and the downs, because it's never going to stay the same.
And I love that. You tackle a subject, and you're going to go forward with it. It's going to be a change, but change can either lead to good or to bad.
That's right.
And sometimes you have no control over the circumstances, but you must have control over your reaction. And you had a good positive reaction in doing that. I know your mom. Do you have Wisdom Chicken Salad? I hadn't seen that on the sign. That's what you named after your mom, because she gave you some mighty wise wisdom in doing that. That'd be a new one. Maybe you can tell whoever bought it out that I'll come up with a recipe for the wisdom.
Well, she's a therapist. And so I always say, I've been in therapy my whole life. I've just never paid for it.
Wonderful. All right. So go ahead now. So you started delivering
Door to door. Health department shut me down. And then at that point, Kevin said to me, you've gotten a crazy reaction from this. I think you could like go and open up a takeout spot and I would help you run it. I'd help you figure out how to do it and I can help you run it. And so we decided then that we were going to partner. And so I was 51%, he was 49%, and we went and rented a little 800 square foot brick and mortar little corner, um, a little suite. And it was in O'Leary's Corner, which is on Opelika Road. And it had a window that was boarded up that because it used to be a pharmacy long ago. And I was like, we've got to have a drive-through window because I was a stay-at-home mom with 3 kids. I would do anything to not get out of the car. We've got to have a drive-through window. And this little bitty place had what could be a drive-through window, 800 square feet, $800 a month. And so we did it. And that was the very first chicken salad chick. And we didn't know what we were doing. Neither one of us had ever run a restaurant. The only restaurant experience I had was I was a very bad waitress in college for a very short period of time. That was my only restaurant experience. So, we just had to figure it out, trial and error. And the good thing is that people were ripping the doors off the hinges to get in there while we figured it out. So, it took a while, but thank goodness people kept coming back for the product. It took a while to figure out how to make any money off of it because we didn't know what we were doing. We didn't have any processes. We didn't know how much to make. It was really a mess, but we had to figure it out. And as long as we checked that box that we had something people were craving and they wanted it, they stuck with us till we figured it out and it became smooth.
Well, God really blessed you. I mean, to make you smart enough to figure I can cook and chicken salad I love, and the uniqueness of what you did. I mean, you were just creative.
Well,
And if more of us could learn to be creative, we all could be a lot more successful at the things that we do.
well, I have to say, I just went to ACC church on Sunday, and Andy, I hope I don't say his name incorrectly, Leisowitz, gave an amazing sermon about using your God-given gifts and talents and to make your good works glorify God. And if we don't use our God-given gifts and talents, how can we do sincere and genuine good works to glorify God? But he gave us, his whole sermon was about how he gave us these gifts and talents to use. And it falls on us to figure out how to use them and how to use that to glorify God. And that was the beginning of Chicken Salad Chicken. I can look back now. I didn't know it. I didn't know it in the moment. It was survival for me in the moment. But now when I look back, I can see that God paved the path and I just took the steps it was his plan about what was going to happen. And to me, Chicken Salad Chick is an outreach of love and connection and joy. And that just grew and grew, and the culture became what it was out of really natural joy and love. And I can see it all clearly in hindsight. But at the time, I didn't.
Did you ever doubt that God was going to leave you alone out there, or did you have a strong conviction that you all were in this together?
No, no, I did not ever think he would leave me. I was raised to believe that he would always be with me, and so I had total faith in that. It didn't mean that things were easy, but I knew that I would always be okay. I knew that no matter what happened, no matter what came my way, I would have to handle it, but I would always be okay until one day I'm with him. So it's only going to get better. So there's nothing to really fear if you truly believe you're always going to be okay. It doesn't mean things are going to be easy.
Were there any points where you really doubted that a little bit? I mean, sometimes when you're on a journey, there are ups and there's some
Yes.
downs in
Yes.
that.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I doubted it on day one when we opened the doors of the first restaurant and nobody showed up. And I thought, what have I done? I've misread all of this. This is crazy. I've put every penny I have into a restaurant that only serves chicken salad. Who thought this was a good idea? And I was just coming apart, just like, what have I done? I've gone off the rails. This was not the thing to do. And then the first guest walked in and everybody attacked her, like she was the millionth customer. But everybody was so grateful that one guest came in because the walls were lined with friends and family and well-wishers to say, yay, you're open. But then there weren't any guests. So it was awkward for all of us. So the first guest walked in and that was a relief. And then the next and the next and the next. And we sold out in 2 hours.
Wow. What did you do then?
So Kevin and I looked at each other and we said, well, we need to make some more. And so our first day we opened with 40 pounds, sold out in 2 hours. The next day we made 80 pounds, sold out again. But the thing that really told us, okay, this is going to be something, was that all of those people that came on day one came on day two with a friend.
Oh,
And so that was a little surreal. Like the second day, they're coming back. This is a good sign. So it just really took off from there. And so as I say, it was like they were ripping the doors off the hinges and it felt like there were 1,000 people in there, but it was only 800 square feet. It could have been 20 and it felt like 1,000.
you were smart to start small, and it always appeared to be full.
Well,
That's
and
good.
and we expanded and it worked out. Then we opened up 2 more restaurants in Auburn, Opelika area to pull business away from the first one because it was too crowded. It was a mess. So we
So
did
you had
that.
3 then.
So we had 3 then. And but in the meantime, all these people were coming in to the original asking, what do we have to do to get one of these? And we're like, like we're falling apart here. We're not going to do anymore. We can't do anymore. And they would say, well, just sell us the recipes or sell us this or just teach me how to do it. And so we just said, we'll just put your name on a list. And if we ever get to it, if we ever get to franchising, we'll call you. So that list just grew and grew and grew and grew and grew. We had over 100 people on a list that said they wanted a chicken salad too. So at that point, we were like, we have got to do this. We have got to, otherwise somebody's just going to take it and do what they want. Let's just do it. So, so we went to work. We actually went to an attorney and said, what's it going to take? And he said, it's going to take $100,000. And we were like, well, we'll see you later. So we went home and said, we're going to have to do this ourselves. Now, I keep skipping parts. We got married. Kevin and I got married in 2008. So at this point, we're married. And so we didn't have $100,000 to franchise. So we decided we were going to try it ourselves. And so Kevin and I, he did the majority. He was super brilliant. Wrote the 500-page document to franchise the concept, which was the best thing we ever could have done because it taught us more about our own business than we knew. to have to write down everything you do from flipping the lights on to flipping the lights off. And so it's a big process. But anyway, we took that big old document to the attorney, and he said, well, that was a nice try. He said, you've saved yourself about $20,000. So, but it was the best thing we ever could have done, for ourselves and for the business. So we franchised the concept, and then we're like, well, great. We have franchised. We don't know how to run a franchise company. Now what are we going to do? And so we partnered with another husband and wife that had franchising experience. And that turned out not to be a good partnership. And so actually, it turned out to be so bad that we almost lost the business. And they had purchased 51% of the business. And then when things went south, they said, well, we can fire you and take your shares. And then we were going to be out. But thankfully, the board of directors said, y'all need to give the Browns the opportunity to buy you out because they're the founders of the business. And then the couple said, well, here's the amount of money we need for you to buy us out. After they just bought 51% 4 months earlier. And it was 3 times the amount. I can't remember if it was 2 times or 3 times the amount they purchased for. So they knew we couldn't do that. But anyway, we hit the ground and we went on a fundraising tour. And so I packed up chicken salad for everybody that would listen. Kevin put together a presentation for everybody that would listen. And we pitched it to any investor that could possibly be interested. And everybody just laughed at us and said, you want us to invest this much money to be a minority share in a franchise that doesn't have a single location open. You don't even have a proof of concept outside of Auburn, Alabama. So that was going to be it. And so we kept doing that as long as we could. But there was also an expiration date on that offer of 30 days. So we had 30 days to raise the money. And so we traveled, and my parents kept the kids, and we traveled trying to raise this money, and everybody was no. So 2 days before we lost the business, we pitched it to 5 gentlemen here in Auburn. And that was our last chance. And so they got up and left, and we were ready to admit defeat and go to the office and say, well, we're done. But then we got a phone call when we were on the way to the office, and it was one of the gentlemen, and his name's Erlen McCorder.
I knew them.
And he said, can y'all come back to the restaurant? So we came back. I cannot say this part in how many years has it been? I don't know how many years it's been, but I can't say this without crying because it just changed everything. But he sat across the table from us and said, I believe in the two of you. And this is a good thing. And I don't want to see it die. And I will write you a check for every penny that you need. And he just saved the business and allowed it to move forward with the true nature of what it was. It wasn't going to change. And so he was our angel, and he became the best business partner we ever could have asked for. And he was amazing, and he whistled into work every day, and we had the best time we ever could have had. And so he infused capital into the business, and we grew our infrastructure, and we were able to hire an amazing team, and people were opening restaurants all over the place. And then we got the news that Kevin had stage 4 colon cancer. And so that was the next battle. And so we started to focus on that. we started to listen to private equity people who had already been knocking on the door that they wanted to buy, but we never wanted to listen because we were having so much fun. But now we were in a very different at a different point, and, so we wanted to make sure that the business outlived all of us. So we wanted to set it up for success no matter what happened to any of us. And, so we partnered with a private equity firm that bought the majority of the business, and we continued on. But Kevin's focus became the Chicken Salad Chick Foundation that helped to fight cancer and feed the hungry. So that became his focus, and we continued on. And then we lost Kevin in November of 2015. And so that was a life-changing tragedy for all of us. And we had to figure out how to move on. And eventually, we did, and I went back to work. Went to the office every day and tried to make Kevin proud and honor him and honor his legacy. And so then the headquarters moved to Atlanta, and I was not able to go into work anymore. So that kind of cut my involvement down, and life moved on. And then I met King Braswell, who's also an entrepreneur. And we married in 2019, and we're both entrepreneurs, and we wanted to create something together. And so then came Botanic. And so that was another adventure.
Yeah. Well, your story is so apropos for so many people. You hit hardships, but you didn't give up. You thought creatively. You trusted God. You'd been taught of how you would move forward in that. And always, even up to 2 days before, I sometimes ask God, couldn't you do it a little quicker, or something like that? But, God's always got a plan. But you also had persistence. You're just an example of you're not going to be defeated by the circumstances. And, you get stopped here, but you move forward. You get stopped here, but move forward. And it was amazing. That what you built through that before you met King, what you built and then what he had built was amazing. Y'all are just two unbelievable entrepreneurs. And who could put together a landscaping empire here with the best food in the world and combine them? And you all have got hands-on. You're an inspiration. I know we've come out here to eat, and y'all are out there directing traffic. You have to,
do what you need to
well,
do.
it's the only place I know that you've got to have reservations long time in advance. You got such a reputation. So you've gone from chicken salad to Botanic, which is a huge operation, just unbelievable. And King supports you, you support him. Your kids, I met Carson, your oldest son, and gosh, he is such an influence and has such you didn't give up your motherly responsibilities to be a successful businesswoman. And look how he's turned out. You couldn't wish for a better outcome from a young man like him. And I don't know your other kids, but I expect it's the same thing.
Well, he is amazing, and they are all three amazing. And I'm sure if you ask them, they could tell you all the ways I could have improved. But they hung in there with me, and they're just all amazing kids. And so I hope that they were able to find some strength through what they've been through. They've been through a lot.
Right. And they'll be go-getters, and you've taught them to be go-givers. Just a word about Botanic here, and we're going to close up in a minute, but
Okay.
it's just amazing what y'all have done here and what you're doing. You and King are both such innovative thinkers. I don't know what all y'all are building out here, but this going to be almost like a subdivision or something out here. Not really. I know you're getting some cabins and for rental around the lake, and the food is just tremendous.
Well, thank you.
And my wife and I had a great time on our anniversary. We came here and played what was
The newlywed
the
game,
newlywed
and
game,
you won.
and we won it.
You
But I think somewhere we had some help with the judges. I don't know who it was, but
you won fair and square.
But we did that, and but so your faith. Thank you so much for spending this time. I want people to know that there are folks who are overcomers. There are folks who, when you face things, and there are a lot of folks watching, listening here now, they might think, well, I can't go on. You kept going on. You are an example who never gave up. And whatever the situation, I mean, who could have 3 kids and start a business that would have 300 stores all around? I mean, that's just incredible. And you give God the glory for doing it. And then when your husband died, that's another. You kept hitting setbacks, but every setback became a setup for God to use you in the best way. So I want to thank you for being the kind of witness and the kind of example that could be for anybody. If I were a professor at Auburn and I wanted to just have an example of somebody that knows how to do business, you would be that person.
Well, you are just very generous and very kind
and accurate
for saying that.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it's just, I just keep going back to Andy's sermon because it really, really hit me yesterday. And I think it's so true for everybody that if you just find out what your God-given gifts and talents are, and when you use those, there's no doubt. You know, when you use those God-given gifts and talents, you are successful. You are successful because they're so natural, they're so inborn. And that gives you the confidence to keep pushing forward because you can feel that it's right. And so even though people said I was crazy for opening up a restaurant that only served chicken salad,
You proved them wrong.
that really didn't bother me because you can feel in your heart and soul when something is right. And so when I wasn't able to go to work every day and my role diminished with Chicken Salad Chick, and King and I were able to start Botanic, this is just a different way to spread joy, enrich lives, and serve others, which was our mission with Chicken Salad Chick. It's just a different way to do that. And so I have had the honor to have this opportunity again in a different way. Whereas with Chicken Salad Chick, it's a fast casual business. So my interaction was a very short interaction. But with Botanic, now we're spending hours with people and we're spending celebrations, life moments with people. And so it's just a great extension of what started so long ago in just a different way.
All right. And God has a way. God gave every person a talent. Discover that talent.
That's right.
And then deploy it somewhere. Don't just sit on it.
Right.
Use it and act. And you've just incorporated that so well, and then give God the glory and then follow along. And then to be right here at Botanic. Again, just this room we're in. I don't know what this is. but
We call it the grain bin.
the grain bin. All right. Well, I
Hmm.
don't see any grain in here, but I tell you, there sure is a lot of good wisdom in here because of that. And thank you for what you're doing here at Botanic. And if people, could I just say, if anybody called within 3 months, you could get a reservation for. No, seriously, I know it's a long.
60
people do
days.
60
We will take reservations up to 60
up to
days
60
out,
days.
but it doesn't take 60 days. Like if it's a home football game, yeah, you
Yeah,
need to you
right,
need to get that 60
right.
days. But, you know, a Tuesday and a Wednesday night, call on Tuesday, you'll be fine. But it just gets harder
No, wait a minute,
towards
that's
the
not what's
weekend.
happened to us because we had to. But I'm glad to know. Then I'm going to call you next time on
Yes,
Tuesday
I will.
evening.
You
and
have
do
my
that.
number.
Oh, good.
You
Right.
call me.
Right. Well, thank you so much for being a part of this, and thank you so much. And I hope if you're watching this, you've learned a lot, and don't know where you are in life, but God's got something in store for you, and doesn't matter what the circumstances are. Satan can take, you know, he'll put the circumstances there, but he can't control you as to how you respond to them. And with God, all things are possible. And when you walked out of church Sunday on the back wall, there were 2 words: Jesus wins. And that's ultimately the way life is. So thanks for being a go-getter and a go-giver, and thanks for being a difference maker in life. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I appreciate the opportunity to chat
Good.
and love it.
I've
Thank
learned.
you.
And thank you for joining us, and be a go-getter and a go-giver.